Coach?
Okay, well, good to be back in Charlotte. Sat at home and watched this last year, so it's good to be back here and have an opportunity to represent the Atlantic, which I think is the only division in college football, or at least Power 5, to have 6 teams with 7+ wins. So super excited about winning our division and earning an opportunity to be in this game. It really is special, this time of year. When you're playing, there's a trophy being handed out, and we're excited again to be here and be a part of a great venue and represent this league. And want to congratulate Coach Brown and his staff and all of their team. Same thing. They're a division champion. They earned their way here, and it's special. These opportunities are unique. To get these opportunities, especially when you look back historically. I got hired 14 years ago yesterday, as a matter of fact. And, at that time, it's been a long time since Clemson won a championship. And so I have such a great appreciation for the opportunity to be here and all that goes into earning the way here. It's hard to win. And so really proud of our team. For their season that they've had to get to this point. And again, look forward to a great matchup tomorrow night. I want to thank Subway for being a sponsor, and then also all the people who make this happen. I mean, there's a lot that goes into making a game like this special for the teams involved. There's a lot of logistics, a lot of moving parts, from the locker rooms to the field, and et cetera, et cetera. So I appreciate everybody's efforts to make this a great venue and a great experience for both teams, and look forward to competing and hopefully playing our best. And Bryce, Bryce? Good to see you, Bryce, from Indian Land. Yeah,
Thank
man,
you.
good to have you here. With that, we'll take whatever questions you got.
Okay, please raise your hand. Let us get the handheld mic to you, and let us know who you are, who you're with. Who has the first question?
Will, he's always first.
Will.
Oh,
I look like Will.
no, you have the thing in front of you there.
Coach
Slightly.
Trevor Groves, CUTigers.com.
Yes,
With Drake May, how important is it to try to build a 2-score lead late in the game, kind of like the way you did at Florida State with a guy like Drake May, who seems to be better when coming from behind and under pressure, leading game-tying and game-winning drives?
2-score lead, I mean, that's important anytime you can do that. But we just want to win the game, whether it's 1 point or 2 scores or whatever. But I think anytime he's on the field and they've got the ball, it's just regardless of what your lead is, whether it's 2 scores, as you say, or 1 point, or you're behind. He's a problem. In any situation, he's just a great player. I mean, he really is. I can't imagine that he's not going to be one of the finalists for the Heisman. 35 touchdowns, 5 picks. He's a leading rusher. He's just a great player. Can beat you a lot of ways. He's got a great mind for the game. He sees things. He processes stuff well. So, regardless of what the scoreboard says or what the situation is, he creates a problem and has our full attention.
Front row to your right, Coach.
I'm Chris Lee from WRL in Raleigh, North Carolina. Wanted to ask you about Josh Downs, and he has a higher win rate, and then the last 2 weeks haven't been as good for him. What do you think you and your defense have to do to kind of get him slowed down and kind of try to keep him out of the end zone?
Yeah, well, I think that's what you hope to do, is just maybe minimize him a little bit, slow him down a little bit, but you're not going to stop him. I mean, he's the best we've seen, I think. I mean, we've seen some really good players, but he is a great competitor. He's a great football player, and he's dynamic with and without the ball. He's a guy that is also a returner for them, but they use him a lot of underneath screen. They won't come out of this game without at least probably trying to get him the ball at least about 15 times in different ways. So you just do the best you can to obviously know where he is. You got to change things up a little bit as far as how you play him, and you know, you gotta compete and win your matchup, and hope that you can, as you said, just slow him down a little bit. But he'll make some plays, but you got to try to hopefully minimize it.
Third row, far left.
Coach Nick Carboni from NBC here in Charlotte. Gonna ask you about two guys, if I can, that are from here. What were your first impressions in recruiting Trenton Simpson from Meadow Creek and Will Shipley from Weddington?
Yeah, they're both just special talents, you know, special people too. You know, just really great kids, great families. I mean, first time you talk to both of those guys, you just go, wow. You know, they're just kind of a breath of fresh air. I mean, just really, just very talented players, but they just have great humility to them, and you know, both love the game, passionate about it, wired very similar in a lot of ways, but you know, just super, you know, skilled, both of them. I mean, Trenton he can do anything. I mean, he's got a long future ahead of him as a football player. He's big, he's strong, he's really fast. You don't see many guys his size as explosive as him, change direction, and you know, just dynamic. And then Shipley, as y'all saw this week, I mean, he's the first guy ever to be first team in 3 different things, right? So running back, all-purpose, and I guess a specialist. So, and that's who he was in the recruiting process. That's what we saw in him as a player, a guy that could be, you know, involved in every facet of the game and impact the game in every way, whether it be as a returner, as a receiver, as a rusher. Great energy. Both of them have they play with a high level of intensity. Both great effort guys. So a lot of similarities in both of them. Both of them are, you know, got great futures ahead of them in football.
Front row, right in front of you, Coach.
Hey, Coach, Steve Reed from the Associated Press. What are your biggest concerns when you look at North Carolina on tape? What jumps out that concerns you?
Yeah, well, they're the 8th best passing offense in the nation. You know, they got a Heisman caliber quarterback that's playing with unbelievable confidence. Got a great receiver. Everybody talks about 11, but it's not just him. It's 3, it's 5, it's 18. It's those tight ends they got. The backs are really good players. You know, they've got a great scheme. They're very confident in what they do. So, you know, they play with tempo. A lot of you know, they get their ball to the playmakers. A lot of formations and motions and shifts. So there's a lot of things to handle schematically, but they got good players. And again, you know, we've not been great. We just gave up a bunch of passing yards last week, and you get to play this bunch, and they're 8th in the country. So that's a concern for sure. And then you know, defensively, they've gotten better. I think as the year has gone, they've really improved. They've had a lot of injuries and things they had to work through to get to this point. But they're much improved there for sure. And then their return game. You know, I mean, Levin's a guy back there that can beat you on one play. So there's a lot that concerns you about, you know, who they are and what they're capable of doing.
Second row.
Hey, Coach, Tony Siracusa from Last Word on Sports. You talked about being out of the championship game last year. What's it like? Do you have a different appreciation for it, having missed it last year after so many years of such high-level success, and now being back? Does it give you a different appreciation for the event?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, like I said, I got this job, and we went to the championship game my very first year in '09. It was in Tampa for whatever reason. That one time, it was like a one-off, and we got beat. But I just remember what a big deal it was to get there, and then we weren't there in 10. We got back in 11 up here, and we won it. And then we weren't here in 12, 13, 14. We had good teams, really good teams, but we weren't here. And then to get back here in 15, it was such a big deal. And then, you know, I guess 6 years in a row we were here, and you just put your head down and go to work, and you know, you see what happens. And so we're just very blessed to have had the opportunity. And then last year we came up short. You know, we competed, we were in it kind of till all the way down to that last weekend, but didn't work out for us. So I'm proud of our guys this year, undefeated in the league. And man, we had to play a lot of great quarterbacks. It seemed like everybody we played all year had a great player at quarterback. And you know, I think we led the league in ACC play in scoring. You know, so you know, our guys did a lot of good things. earn their way here, and we certainly last year watching it, the old Kenny Pickett fake slide, was home watching it like everybody else, and certainly missed the opportunity to be in this game. And this is everything for us has come through, winning this league, and so you can't win it if you're not in it. So we're really thankful and have a great appreciation for, this weekend and for everyone. I played in the first ever championship game back in 1992, so 30 years ago. I played in that game in Birmingham, and and now here we are 30 years later, and everybody has a championship game. Nobody had them back then, and I remember we weren't happy about it. Coach Stallings was furious about it because we had to go beat Florida, who was like 9-2 or something. We had to go beat them, even though we were number 2 and already in the national championship. So it's just interesting how it's all come full circle now. Now all these conferences are having a championship game this weekend, and thankful that we get the opportunity to go play.
Second row, right in front of you, Coach.
Dabo, Chapel with the state. Have you seen the response you wanted from DJ in practice this week, and where's he kind of at into the game? You think confidence-wise?
Yeah, I mean he's done his part, which is all he can do. They're not gonna let him throw it and catch it. So I mean he's done his part. He's had a great week of practice, and the team has responded, like you want, but move forward. And at the end of the day, we're 10-2, and we won our division, and earned the opportunity to be here. And so, expect him to play well.
Front row to your right.
Chris Lee from WRL again. You mentioned earlier this is a question about the ACC as a whole. You mentioned the Atlantic Division this year and all the teams with 7+ wins in there, with no divisions next year. How do you think that one helps out those teams who have all of those wins to maybe potentially get to the ACC championship? And how do you think that helps maybe with the public perception of the ACC conference, where some people feel like the teams kind of beat up on each other?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably where it's going in every league, probably. It's probably it's going to end up with the expansion of the playoff and all that stuff. But we experienced that a couple years ago when Notre Dame was in here. So you'll probably have more rematches. That'll be one change, kind of like that year. We had a rematch with Notre Dame, and so you'll probably have more of that. But I think it's all just being driven by the playoff and being able to get your 2 best teams, and everybody trying to have the most teams possible, available. And and just kind of, you can, the division thing, maybe one division's better than the other, and that can change from year to year. And so, this is kind of where it's going as far as being able to, figure out who the 2 best teams are throughout the year and let them go play, and then see how it affects the playoff.
Far left against the wall.
Hi, Coach, and Jennifer Lewis with New Stitch Media. What do you think your quiet X factor is for possibly winning tomorrow?
A quiet X factor. If I told you, it wouldn't be quiet. It'd get loud. Let's keep it quiet. I don't know. I mean, quiet X factor. Maybe Phil Maffa. He's a guy nobody really talks about a whole lot, but he's a pretty special player. He's kind of a quiet guy, but he plays loud, so we'll go with that.
Thank you.
You want her?
Third row.
CL Brown with the Raleigh News and Observer. Even though you guys had the 1-year hiatus from this game, you've got players who've been in this situation before, whereas Carolina doesn't have anybody from their last appearance in 2015. How much do you lean on kind of the championship and the big game experience, lean on your players in situations like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. That's certainly not a negative when you have a bunch of guys that have won games like this, been in games like this. I don't think that's bad or anything, but it still comes down to how you play in this game, these 4 quarters, and doing what you got to do. But we are when we started the first year in 09, and we kind of laid out what our program was going to be about. It was like we want to have a program that is elite when it comes to graduation, and we've done that. And then we wanted to build a program that really truly built great men, equipped men with skills career opportunities and relationships and real true tools for life. And we've done that. And then we wanted to have a program where when their time was up, they said, man, that was a great experience. You know, we wanted them to have a great experience. We want to embrace college, and we've done that. And then, but the last thing was we wanted everybody that came to Clemson to win a championship. And that's how we built the program. Nothing has changed from that. And so then we went to work, and our first class was February of '09. We signed 12 guys, and every class that has come to Clemson has won a championship or more, with the exception of Will Shipley's class. So obviously the guys that just got there this year, you know, Antonio Williams and that crew, they're going to get a shot. But so everybody who's come through has won a championship, and so it's something that is woven into, you know, just the purpose and DNA of our program. And so I think it's great that we've got a lot of guys that are coming in here and they have that experience to draw upon. But you got to seize these moments when they come. You know, no championship team we've had didn't finish. You know, you got to finish, and you got to take advantage of opportunities to separate yourself. You know, hang a banner. You know, there's been 127 teams at Clemson, and you know, you want to be remembered as a league champion. You got to do it on the field. So regardless of whether you've been in this game or you haven't been in this game, it comes down to how you play tomorrow night.
Fourth row.
Alex Impernoni with ADSN. You talked about Will Shipley, first team All-ACC running back, all-purpose, and special teams. How important is it for him to get going in this first quarter against North Carolina?
It's always important to get your best players in rhythm and going early in any game, you know, and certainly, you know, he's just like a number 11 for them, and their quarterback, you know, that's kind of where it starts for them. It starts for us with number 1. I mean, he's a great player, and he's a guy that gets better as the game goes. Kind of the tougher it gets, the better he is, and so it's very important. We need him to play well.
Top row.
Hi Dabo, this is Amanda with Watchbox out of Columbia. I was just wondering, there's something that you want to see from your guys tomorrow night that you haven't seen this season, a type of game, whether that's, you know, a perfect game or a full circle game, or just a statement that you want to set that you haven't seen so far.
Well, I'd love a perfect game. That would be a great place to start. Yeah, we didn't have that for sure. But you know, the biggest thing is just, you know, I'd like to see us win the margin. You know, we had 7 games. We had 3 offensive turnovers, and we've had 14 in 5 games. So that's tough sledding. So it's not that I haven't seen. I have seen us do that, but that's where I would start. I'd like to see us win the margin tomorrow night. I think that'd be a good thing to see.
Third row in front of you.
Hey Coach, David Hope, CUTigers.com. You got the administrative staff and the secretaries involved in a little film action earlier this week, and just wondering, what did the rest of the week look like after Mental Monday?
Windshield, eyes forward, on to the next, you know, go to work, get back at it, you know, that's what you do. You know, just learn from it and put your eyes on the next opponent and what you got to do to get ready to go play well. So we've had a good week of practice. The guys are excited about playing, and you know, hopefully we can. Thankful that we get a chance to go play. You know, because most of the time your season ends. So it's nice to be able to get back at it and play another game, and hopefully just play well. But good week of practice.
Top row on the right.
Hey Dabo, Pat Walter here in the back from WRAL. Do you feel like you have to take any extra motivational measures with your guys, given the way the regular season ended, and that this ACC championship game doesn't necessarily have the playoff implications it normally does?
No. I mean, again, there's only 4 teams that go to the playoff, and we've been there 6 times, and you know, that's probably about the most of anybody. You know, so it's hard to do that. I mean, it's really hard. This is what we're playing for right here. You know, those are all great things, but those are things that come when you win your league. I mean, we know what's at stake. You know, wish we were perfect. We weren't perfect this year. Everybody goes in their season. You try to be perfect, and you put everything you got into every single week. And you know, you got a lot of people involved, and you count them all up at the end of the year, and we're not 12-0, we're 10-2. So yeah, we won't have the opportunity to go in the Final Four, but whether we were 12-0 or 10-2, we still need to win that. So nothing has changed from that standpoint. Everything for us is about winning the ACC, and it's a goal of ours. And then the next goal is to win the closer, whatever that is. Because again, we could be 12-0, win it, and on a particular year somebody not vote you in. I mean, you don't have any control over that. So our goal is to win this league, and so what happened last week has nothing to do with this week. Never has, never will. You got to go on to the next game, just like the next season or whatever it may be.
Third row, aisle.
Hey, Dabo, Daniel with ESPN. You kind of piggybacking off of that, I know in the past you've sort of joked you'd be fine going back to the BCS, but starting in 2024, winning that will get you into the playoff. Are you happy to see the playoff expansion? Do you think this is a net good thing for college football and for Clemson?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what I think. You're going to write whatever you think, so it doesn't matter what I think. And it doesn't matter what anybody's opinion is, because it's reality. I mean, so you just embrace it and keep moving. It's reality. Doesn't matter what anybody's opinion or thinks about it. It's happening. So all that matters is let's move forward and we got one more year of a Final Four, if you will, and then it goes to 12, and we'll all embrace whatever changes come with that, whatever, there's always unintended consequences. We'll all embrace that, and you keep moving forward. So I'm excited about it and look forward to whatever comes with it, but it doesn't really matter what anybody thinks about it.
Third row in front of me.
Dabo, I was wondering what your relationship is like with Mac Brown, and during his time when he was with ESPN, did he come down? Were there any particular visits that may have stood out when he was just on the set and observing practice, and you guys were talking just as football minds?
Yeah, well, and I said this earlier in the week, but he's when I got the job 14 years ago yesterday, we finished up, went to the Gator Bowl, and then we kind of starting. Okay, we're gonna get an off season, gonna get a spring practice. We're gonna get to have a year cycle of recruiting and kind of all that stuff. And I reached out to about 4 or 5 coaches that I didn't really know any of them. I didn't really know anybody, but I didn't really know them. But just people that I really just thought a lot of and really respected. And obviously it wasn't. Coach Spurrier wasn't going to let me come down and sit down with him in Columbia. That wasn't going to happen. So, you got common sense. But I reached out to people that I felt like it would be great to go learn from. And because, obviously I'd had 7 weeks as a head coach. And so now I've got a chance to kind of had a lot of questions and a lot of things that maybe I was just looking for some confirmation on. And there's just a lot of questions on some stuff. And so I've always said this is why I love Mac Brown and always will. I reached out to 4 or 5 coaches, and when now you're the head coach at Clemson, they'll call you back or at least text you back, and he was the only coach that would let me come visit. And and I thought that was interesting because I didn't really dawn on me. I'm like, why can't I've always allowed people to come and visit and meet and talk because of that, but Mac Brown was the only one. And not only did he let me come visit, he let me bring the whole staff. So I went out there February of '09, took the whole staff, spent 2.5, 3 days in Austin, and I'd never been there at the time in Austin. And they were actually started spring ball early. We got to see a little practice and then some meetings, and they were amazing. And he was so accommodating. And I couldn't even hardly get a question out of my mouth, and he had all the answers, and then I'd go on to the next, and then he'd read my mind, and because I still got all my questions and all my answers. I got just pages of notes that I took from him, and it was such a helpful visit for me, and to be able to see Texas and kind of where they were. They're just pretty fresh off a national championship and facility, you name it. Staffing and recruiting, so it was like a Cliff Notes version of being a head coach, and he was incredibly transparent, and he didn't know me from Adam. Like he's like, yeah, man, congrats, kept up with you. I'm really excited you got that job. Come on out anytime. Took us all to dinner. He was just Mac. That's just who he is. And so that's how he is. He's just a great person, and as is Sally. And so and then we became friends after that. So I kind of went on and you know, and then he coached, and then when he got out of coaching and got into TV, he had several of our games. And he came down and did an event for me one time, one of our fundraisers. He came and spoke at that. So just got to know him a lot over the years, and you know, just one of those guys that you know, you just, it's easy to like. So good football coach. Somebody asked me a question at our press conference Tuesday. Maybe somebody here, I don't know, but they asked me, the question was, did I think he would be successful or something like that when he got back? And I was like, well, what about his life says that he wouldn't be successful? You know, I mean, everything about everything he's ever done leads you to think, yeah, this will work. So I'm not surprised that he's here. He might not have been so transparent 14 years ago had he known that we were going to be facing up, you know, one day for a championship. But that's kind of how life is, how God works. That's how, you know, things come full circle sometimes.
Second round.
Trevor Gross, CUTigers.com. Coach, last week you faced the number 3 punter in the country, and you had a big impact in that game. Tomorrow you're facing the number 7 punter in the country. Special teams always critical in games like these, but how much will that impact your game plan, your strategy tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously a huge part. I mean, we had 2 turnovers: fumbled a kick return, fumbled a punt return, and lost 2 possessions there, both in scoring range. You know, that was a huge part of the game with field position, and it'll be the same. So we've got to try to keep them on a long field because he's really good and can pin you deep, you know, if you allow it. But in a championship game, special teams is always a part of it.
Back row.
Dabo, Jeremy Davis, WYFF-TV. Last time y'all played North Carolina was up in Chapel Hill in 2019. What do you remember about that game, and what did you learn from that game that might help you in the head-to-head matchup come tomorrow night with Mac Brown?
I remember they made a couple of explosive plays, and I remember we missed some plays, had some critical drops, but it was a hard-fought game. Both teams competed to the end. I think we missed a field goal as well in that game that was pretty critical. And next thing you know, it was down to the last play. So 2-point conversion at the end. We made a great stop, and it was a big win for us. But you know, it was a good football team.
Front row.
Right here, Dabo. ABC 11. Trayvon Miles, ABC 11.